I moved into that small studio apartment because it was cheap. The landlord warned me apartment 2B had been empty for years. Last tenant left overnight, didn't even take his shoes, he said with a dry laugh. I didn't laugh, but I signed the lease anyway. The first night, I noticed the mirror. It was old, heavy, with a dark wooden frame, bolted to the wall opposite my bed. Not hung, bolted. I asked the landlord about it. Came with the place, he shrugged, probably hiding some ugly wallpaper. That night, around 2 a.m., I woke up to a scratching sound, not from the walls, from inside the mirror. I sat up in bed. The moonlight hit the glass, and for a second, just a second, I thought I saw my reflection blink a moment too late. I told myself I was tired. I covered the mirror with the bedsheet and went back to sleep. The next evening, the sheet had fallen off. I pinned it up again. This time, I used duct tape. At 3:17 a.m., I heard a whisper, not words, just a wet, breathy sound, like someone pressing their lips against the other side of glass. I opened my eyes. The sheet was still taped, but in the corner of the mirror, the fabric bulged outward slightly, as if something was pressing from behind. I didn't sleep after that. By day 3, I noticed the temperature in the room never rose above cold, even at noon. My breath fogged the air. The mirror stayed clear, strangely clear. No dust, no smudges. It looked cleaner than the day I moved in. I started checking the wall behind the mirror. In the hallway, the opposite side was just bare plaster. No door, no crack. But when I pressed my ear to the wall, I heard breathing. Slow, deep, rhythmic, like something large was sleeping just on the other side. That night, I recorded audio on my phone while I slept. The next morning, I played it back. For the first 6 hours, silence. Then, at 3:33 a.m., my own voice whispered something I never said. "Let me in. I'm cold." I moved the phone closer to the mirror the next night. This time, the recording was worse. A different voice, not mine. Raspy, slow. It said, "She's not your reflection. She's been waiting. Open the glass." I called a friend Jake to stay over. He laughed at me, but he came. We sat on the floor facing the mirror. At 2 a.m., Jake stopped laughing. He stared at his own reflection, except his reflection was smiling. Jake wasn't smiling. We both saw it. The mirror Jake tilted its head, then pressed a hand against the glass from the other side. Jake screamed. The mirror Jake screamed too, but a half second earlier. We ran out. Jake never came back. He texted me once, "Don't sleep in that room, ever." But I had nowhere else to go, so I kept sleeping there with the lights on. One night, I woke up and the mirror was no longer opposite my bed. It was right next to me. Somehow, silently, it had moved 2 feet closer. The sheet was gone, the tape was peeled off, and my reflection was standing sideways, looking at the wall, not at me. Then she turned her head. Her neck bent too far. Her eyes were hollow. She raised one finger and tapped the glass. Tap, tap, tap. 3 taps. Then she wrote something on the inside of the glass, backwards. I had to read it in the mirror's reflection to understand. I used to live in 2B. Now I live in the mirror. You're next. I called the landlord the next morning. He sighed. "Look," he said, "the last tenant said the same thing. He broke the mirror with a hammer. It grew back overnight. Then he disappeared." I didn't believe him. I bought a sledgehammer. At midnight, I swung it into the glass. The mirror shattered into 100 pieces, and behind it was not a wall. Behind it was a dark hallway. Cold air poured out, and at the end of the hallway, I saw a figure, small, hunched. It turned around. It had my face, but older, decayed, smiling. It whispered, "Thank you. Now I can leave." I ran. I slammed the door. When I came back an hour later, the mirror was whole again, not a single crack. And my reflection? She was sitting on my bed, inside the room, not behind a glass. I don't live there anymore, but But sometimes, late at night, I see a new video on YouTube, a man telling horror stories, and in the background, behind his shoulder, there's a mirror, and the reflection doesn't match his movements. If you're watching this, don't look behind you, and never, ever cover your mirror at night, because she's already inside your room. She's just waiting for you to notice.